it's hard to talk about the whole like self-sustainability thing, because whenever you post online, either somebody's trying to come at you for being like a conspiracy theorist, or somebody's trying to come at you for killing animals or abusing animals, or just simply isn't true. A lot of us who are going this like this route of homesteading and trying to there's a misconception that we are preppers, that we're like hardcore survivalists and we're like building bunkers and stuff. And I feel like the reality is that we are at a time in life that we are seeing why our grandparents or our great grandparents saved their bacon grease and washed their aluminum foil. And we're coming to a point in Canada, at least, and potentially the United States and other Western countries, that we've gone so far capitalist that we're no longer good for ourselves. We're no longer even just good for our own communities. And we've gone so far away from the community aspect of things. Like, you could be anything you want. You could live in your basement. Like, I could live right here for years and be self-sustaining. I could order food. I could sustain myself and work from here. And in fact, I do work from home most times with internet, with Starlink internet and things. It just makes life easier, while at the same time negating community and making your overall life more difficult. So I want to share, like, I've wanted this entire year, and while we were prepping the TV show, I wanted to talk about killing animals. I wanted to talk about butchering the chickens and having to deal with our predator problems. And there's just so much, and the deeper I look into it, there's so many issues with the current political system, with the current system that we have in Canada, that makes it, like, if you look at the federal laws with regards to a lot of self-sustainability, you end up finding out that you're not allowed to do quite a bit without a license, without permission, without registering for something. And that is frustrating, in my opinion. Like, we're certainly not like the United States, where the U.S. has crazy gun laws, and anybody can, well, not crazy gun laws, anybody can just about get a handgun or a rifle or whatever. But still, there's a lot of rules here in Canada, and a lot of things that I feel that the government is getting away with, and has been getting away with over the past 2 or 3 years, that now we are seeing the fruits of our relative apathy, and we're just kind of sitting here holding the bill, especially with what's going on with Ukraine. Like, Canada has spent billions of dollars sending overseas to Ukraine, which some people think is a money laundering scheme, because, I mean, the amount of money that we are sending over there, meanwhile, the price of gas and the price of groceries and things in Canada are becoming outlandish. So now that we're living in this post-COVID world, now that we're seeing our communities sort of deteriorate, we're seeing more and more people that want to escape the city centers, which is what I did back in 2020. You want to escape the city and then have a small, close-knit community, of which that we've been able to build online. We've been able to build this awesome community online of people who sort of encourage each other and teach each other, and we just want to be, at the end of the day, we don't want to be this hippie commune, and we don't want to be this occult out in the woods. We just want to be left alone. We want to do our own thing. And we're seeing more and more that people will get mad at you for hunting because they don't know what it entails. Like, we've been hunters long before, as humans. We were hunters long before we were even farmers. So hunting, I mean, our technology has evolved such that we use shotguns and rifles and bows and arrows and things, so we don't have to do it with spears and with knives anymore. But we're to a point in society that something needs to change because we've got such a weak generation of people. The millennials and Gen Z is just like, it's ridiculous how weak people are getting now, and it's so frustrating. And I mean, I fall into it too. I mean, I've said recently that men are not so manly anymore, and of course I fall into it with our comedy, because that's what gets the likes. That's what people laugh at, is this guy going outside in his underwear chasing his chickens around. But we're seeing a generation of people who've been so, I don't know, our parents always said it was desensitized. We were being desensitized by video games and by television, but I think we've almost been overly sensitized, that through our online interactions, the powers that be, if you will, whether it's Facebook or Google, they know so much about us with regards to our psychology and our sociology that they can feed us ads that we were talking about. They can feed us ads based on things that we were searching. And I've worked in this space, in the marketing space. It's so easy to be able to target people based on a location, based on their likes, their dislikes, and that way you maximize your spending or your ad spend for that. But if we lived in communities where you didn't need that, where you could build your own communities, and I understand that there is a aspect of it where you want to be safe, right? Like, we have rules and laws for certain reasons, and it makes it difficult because over the last 100 years we've built these walls up, and we've built these laws and these rules based upon, hey, we want to keep people safe. We want to be careful. We don't want anybody to get hurt. We've seen in the past that, but now we've got laws and rules upon rules upon rules that end up being made for stupid people. For people that, like, if you can't think through a problem, or if you have no idea about engineering or carpentry, you shouldn't be building your own house, right? Like, it doesn't make sense for you to build your own house. If you don't know anything about it, why would you do it? So we've come so far in protecting the people that really shouldn't be protected. Not that not everybody's life matters, but man, why are we protecting people that want to do stupid things, right? I mean, I do stupid things all the time. And there are laws and there are rules and things that I don't necessarily agree with, but it just makes it hard. And we're in a society now where police don't even live, in large part, in the communities that they police, or the RCMP. So when they go into a place, they don't have the ownership of your community. You don't have the ownership of, like, oh yeah, that's Mrs. Johnson that whatever is having another issue. So if you were involved in your community and you know your community, and I know not all police officers in RCMP would be like that, but when you have a community watch, and when you have a community that is bent on helping each other and taking care of each other, you don't have to worry so much and be as reliant on policing, and you don't have to be as reliant on outside forces or the government, so that you can take care of yourself and take care of each other, take care of your families. I mean, you see that with people who immigrate from other countries. I mean, for a lot of people from Muslim countries really get it, because they come in and they live in a small space. They live in a small apartment or house, and their families are back home, and then they build each other up. They save all their money and send it home so they can bring their families here, and then they start buying up, like in larger city centers, they buy up city blocks. And that's awesome. That's good for them. But our communities here, like our communities in rural Canada, we're too busy fighting amongst ourselves to figure out, like, what the best course of action should be. Instead of working together with your community, with your family, we've got this chronic, stupid independence that we feel that we have something to prove, that we need to build our own and hustle and whatever, but instead we're creating this culture of negativity, of people who don't want to build families, of people who don't want to grow gardens, and the end all and be all becomes a paycheck. If you can make $1 million a year, you're rolling in it. Meanwhile, I'm here trying to make as little as possible so that I don't have to pay bills. Like, I don't want to. I want to live simply, and I want to grow my own food, and just to have this community and have this church and have these people around us that are beautiful people and that deserve to be celebrated. And I think we've gone so far out of that we need to be coming back. We need to be coming closer to home instead of fighting amongst ourselves about our differences. We need to come together on our strengths and things that we are good at and be more reliant on each other. Because we've become so accustomed to just going to the grocery store and things are there. Well, now when you go to the grocery store, they either will not be there, or things are so ridiculously expensive, you can hardly afford your grocery bill. So we're coming to a point where the grocery stores may be there, and there may be supply of these things, houses and whatnot, but if you can't afford it, what are you going to do? So we're coming to a point in society where we need each other more than ever. And that's what's awesome about our communities that we've been a part of, and people that have reached out to us and been able to be a part of our journey. There are people who know many more things than I do, but along my journey, I've been able to teach other people. And the mistakes that I've made along the way, whether it's with our chickens, with our gardens, with our hydroponic systems and things, just learning about this lifestyle, we have learned a lot already in the 2 years that we've been doing it. So now we're looking forward. We're looking for other people to help out, and we want to do that more and more because people need help. We need each other, and we need to be part of a community of people that encourages. We need to be a part of a community that works together, that teaches each other, that grows up together, and that it takes a community. It takes a village of people together to raise your children, to build up your families, to help each other, and not expect financial compensation necessarily from your neighbor. That's something I fall into all the time, that if I ask somebody or feel that I should ask somebody to help me build something or work on something, I feel almost obligated to give cash. Like, I'll pay you. Help me out, man. Whereas 20, 30 years ago, you just help. That's what you do. A buddy needs help, you go help them. But not so much anymore. We've come to a society where things are complicated, and we don't want to admit that we need help. We don't want to admit that we're struggling and that we are feeling the pinch when we just simply don't make enough money. And no matter how hard you work and how many hours you put in, you're not making enough. So all I want to do is flip it on its head and say, how little can I live with? How small of a house can I live in? How little can I get my grocery bill? How low can I get my my overall existence to be? How cost effective can I live my life such that I don't have to be a part of the greater system? I can live free and be free and do what I want. If I can live on $10,000 a year, I'll live on $10,000 a year. And I want to do that. And I want life to be simpler with better people in it. And I think that there are some amazing people out there that maybe need the encouragement to be able to step outside of their comfort zone, to be able to try something new, to just grow a garden. Maybe you don't have a house or can't afford a house, but you want to try this kind of lifestyle. Try a herb garden. Try a little, I hate to promote Amazon, but if you order on Amazon, little grow garden you put on your counter. Try some herbs and stuff. Because we're seeing more and more shortages of produce and food, and we need to be able to do that. We need to learn how to do that, because if we don't have that supply chain, if we don't have that food security here in Canada, you're screwed. So we got to figure it out.